Welcome to EDUC 599, week number 3. This is your introduction video. The focus for this week is on servicing our English language learners and struggling readers population with best practice literacy instruction. Here in the video, I'll provide you with a flashback to both week 1 and week 2, explain the upcoming tasks for week number 3, which include exploration of information from Iowa's Department of Education in 2 different formats along with our text reading. One will be a chapter reflection and the other a discussion forum. I found some great resources on your DPE's website and included some extra resources this time. These extras are not mandatory, however, it would be wise for you to peruse them a bit as they contain some pertinent information for you as a literacy leader. Lastly, I'll provide information from some questions that arise about the district literacy plans. Your weekly flashback. Last week in your Save the Last Word for Me, from the first week, I wanted to provide you with information on how this forum was graded. I do use a rubric as a guide, but when allocating points, I wanted to provide you with some insights. The total grade was worth 25 points. You will see the points awarded to the post in the rating at the bottom of each post. The breakdown is as follows. Your quote was worth 1 point. A total of 10 points was awarded for the last word, with your synthesis involved, and then 7 points per reply. I put most of the weight on the last word since the depth of thought for that post was more complicated with the synthesis of others' ideas. The Q&A forum from week number 1 was worth 50 points. Your initial post, that initial reply to my prompt, was worth 15 points each for a total of 30 points with both of the prompts. Then, each reply was worth a total of 10 points each. Some of you replied more than twice in that forum, and whenever I score those replies, I always score the reply that earns the most points if there is more than one. I provided feedback for week number 1's forums through the messaging feature on Moodle. There were such great points and ideas were shared in these forums, and I appreciated the support you provided one another with resources and replying back. This week's chapter reflection will be scored in the assignment with feedback provided using the rubric in the syllabus. And your forum post for week number 2 will be scored according to the rubric, but the breakdown of each post will be similar to Save the Last Word for Me, where points are a bit heavier in your initial post than in your replies. The focus for week number 2 was on best practice literacy instruction in the early grades, your elementary schools, and at the secondary level, the middle and high schools. Your knowledge was demonstrated through a chapter reflection and discussion forum. I will briefly outline some of the learning gleaned from these activities. After scanning your chapter reflections, there was an overwhelming desire to see the classroom workshop emphasized at all grade levels. The gradual release of responsibility is not something that should cease in the elementary grades. It is something that needs to be continued in the middle and high school levels. Expectations and digging deeper into content can be so difficult for students at the upper levels, but providing that modeling and scaffolding, which is supported in the workshop model, can ensure that students at those levels meet the rigor of the curriculum put in front of them. We cannot expect students to read a chapter and answer chapter questions anymore without showing them our expectations and setting a purpose for that reading and/or writing. Plus, many times our textbooks that our students are reading in the middle and high school levels are written at such a high level that it's hard for them to access them. Therefore, we need to help them to approach that material using best practice literacy instruction. Another point of consensus in many of the reflections was a lack of collaboration and communication between elementary schools and the secondary level. Having consistency between instruction at all levels will support the transition of students and their ability to be successful in literacy no matter what grade they are in. Our forum from last week focused on the transitions of readers from the elementary levels to the middle school and high school levels. This can be a huge transition for students in many different ways, not only academically. Many of you mentioned the triangle graphic that separated levels of literacy, that basic, intermediate, and disciplinary levels. These create a scope and sequence of learning starting at the primary elementary grades, typically 4K to 2nd or 3rd, where students learn how to decode, they learn about their high-frequency words that can't be decoded, and your basic recall type of reading skills. In your intermediate grades, those from grades 3 to 5 or 6, students are honing their general comprehension skills. They're working on fluency, so more energy can be spent digging deeper with their comprehension, and they're learning how to use context clues to figure out unfamiliar terms. Finally, at your middle and high school levels with the grades of 6 through 12, the focus is more on the content areas with disciplinary lit, being able to sift through their toolboxes of comprehension strategies to find ones that best suit their purpose for reading the different kinds of material that will be done in the different contents, and reading and writing for particular disciplines. Whether they're doing it in math, they're looking at their reading and their writing from a mathematician standpoint. In science, they're looking at it from the lens of a scientist, the lens of a historian, in social studies and history classes, etc. I believe that there is an overlap in these skills and where these skills and strategies are taught. Students may not always be developmentally ready or have acquired mastery of these at certain levels. Therefore, there needs to be some overlap when necessary. This also provides a need for scaffolding and teaching at the secondary level. Some students just are not ready for it. We need to provide our students with instruction that will carry them through all these transitions and provide best practice instruction, which can be implemented in any situation, no matter the content. Hence the choice of my graphic, including the different discipline arrows at that level. These ideas were also mentioned in your forum posts. Chapter Reflection, Struggling Readers. One of the topics addressed this week is the struggling reader. After reading Chapter 5 of our text and exploring the materials from Iowa's DPE, which includes watching the video on the multi-tiered system of support and examining the table of factors for an at-risk population, focus on those key components from the MTSS. Reflect on your school's support of this population of struggling readers and at-risk students. How does your school go about servicing this population and providing support for their needs? Further this by reflecting by explaining, as an administrator, how your school or district could improve upon reducing this population. What other ways can they be supported? Check out the assignment for more details on this reflection. In our discussion forum this week, it is centered on English language learners. This is information from Chapter 6, and I have also uploaded a handout for administrators and teachers from Iowa's DPE entitled Educating Iowa's English Learners. In your forum post this week, explain your ideas from a literacy leader standpoint as a future administrator. For your classmates' knowledge, first share how your district currently supports its EL population and what kind of population you have. You may need to reach out to your EL coordinator and teacher to find out what happens if you aren't up to date on this area in your district or school. As a literacy leader, what do you feel your role is when supporting these learners in the area of literacy? What are some of the most important instruction they need to get in literacy that will help these English learners overcome the language barrier? And how can you assist teachers with EL's implementation of those practices? Enter the forum for more details. Finally, I'm going to touch base with you on the Balanced Literacy Plan scavenger hunt. After sending out the midweek information to clarify some questions on exploring your district literacy plan, I realized I misspoke. We will be starting the scavenger hunt during week number 4. I was a little ahead of the game. The ability to dive into what other literacy plans look like won't take place for another week. However, the documents I provided in the midweek announcement should give you some idea of what pieces to search for, or if you are encountering difficulties locating this plan in your district. Sometimes the balanced literacy plans can go by other names. It could be labeled as a guide, a program, curriculum, framework, or instruction. That might be the main part of the name in the plan if you're searching for it and not finding it in your district. Regardless, the components of an integrated, comprehensive, and balanced literacy curriculum are the foundation of a district's comprehensive literacy plan. The commitments and components of a literacy plan are found in the documents from the midweek announcement. They're listed in the syllabus and are shared here. These are a vision goal statement, where the district is revealing the purpose and improvement plan. Another component is an instruction and curriculum, and these should be grounded in balanced literacy workshop models and best practice teaching. Should also include intervention systems. How are your struggling students going to be serviced? How are they identified? What are going to be the supports that you are giving them? An assessment, which is the collection of data to assess their literacy skills. The level of professional support. That's the teacher component on how the district or administration will be supporting the improvement of instruction and services with their educators. And finally, partnership, a family-community partnership, that collaboration with the community and families of the district to do what's best for students. Typically, all of these components are rolled out into one document that is for public viewing. These terms and ideas may help you locate something. And please do not be discouraged if you cannot find a comprehensive plan. My own district does not have all these pieces in place. We have not had a full-time reading specialist for almost a decade. Over this past summer, we did hire a full-time reading specialist, and this is one of her first things to do on her to-do list. She wants to have all of these pieces in one comprehensive, balanced literacy plan. Sometimes districts, like I mentioned, use the terms guide, program, curriculum, framework, or instruction when labeling their plan. I also want you to be aware that if you aren't finding a comprehensive, inclusive, balanced literacy plan for your district, it will not affect your grade or ability to complete any assignments for this class. Your part, after evaluating another state and district plans, will be to reflect on what your district needs if they need to create their own comprehensive literacy plan, if and when they make one. Many states allow districts to have local control and create their plan as needed. You will not be asked to create a comprehensive plan in this class, but instead, you'll be asked to reflect and think about what are the most important parts that need to be included to bring what your district currently does closer to a comprehensive plan. And this would be if you find yourself in an administrative or leadership role. When you look at these plans, you will see that there is a team of people. It is not something that is created by one person. There is typically a literacy leadership team, a literacy team, something like that, that puts together all these components for their balanced literacy plan. However, in this class, your part will be to create an action plan for the creation of some of the components that are missing or need to be improved from what you find your district currently has. With that being said, welcome to week number 3. If you have any questions, as always, please make sure to contact me, and I will do my best to let you know what is going on and answer your questions. Happy reading!